The summer heat hung heavy in the air, a thick blanket of humidity that seemed to slow time itself. I stood at the edge of my driveway, staring at the family reunion, August 14th, banner we had just hung across the front porch. The banner fluttered lightly in the warm breeze, a symbol of something far bigger than just a weekend gathering. This was going to be the first time in 6 years that every branch of my family tree would be in the same place. We'd planned for months, coordinating flights, booking hotel rooms, and organizing food and games. But the very next morning, a neatly folded, cream-colored envelope appeared on my doorstep. No return address, just my name printed in bold, blocky letters. My stomach tightened before I even tore it open. Inside, typed in the HOA's rigid formal font, was a single sentence that hit me like a punch. The planned family reunion event is in violation of HOA noise, parking, and occupancy ordinances and is hereby prohibited. I read it again, slower this time, hoping I'd misunderstood. Prohibited. The word felt cold, surgical, and final. It was signed by Marjorie Kent, our HOA president, the kind of woman who could find fault in a rainbow and still claim she was just following the rules. She was known for prowling the neighborhood with a clipboard, snapping photos of lawns that dared to grow half an inch above regulation height. The idea that she could cancel a reunion that meant so much to my family made my blood boil. Still, I told myself to stay calm. I picked up the phone and called her directly. "Marjorie," I began, keeping my voice even, "I just got your notice about the reunion." She cut me off. "The rules are there for a reason, Mr. Taylor. This event would cause excessive street parking, loud noise, and a disturbance to other residents. We can't allow it." Her tone was sharp, rehearsed, as if she'd been waiting to deliver that speech. I tried to reason with her, promising that we'd arrange off-site parking and keep the volume down, but she was immovable. "My decision is final," she said, hanging up before I could respond. When I broke the news to my family, the disappointment was instant. My mother's face fell. My cousin Jason, who was flying in from Texas, clenched his jaw. Even my little niece, Emily, who had been practicing a song to perform for the family, asked in a small voice, "Does this mean I can't sing for everyone?" That was the moment something in me snapped. This wasn't just about a party anymore. This was about being told we couldn't be together, about letting a self-appointed ruler with a clipboard dictate our lives. I refused to let that happen. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my sister Lisa, brainstorming ideas. Every option seemed impossible. Rent a hall, too expensive, move to a park, already booked solid, or break the rules and risk massive fines, which Marjorie would happily enforce. But then Lisa leaned forward, her eyes gleaming. "What if," she whispered, "we didn't technically have the reunion here?" I frowned. "What do you mean?" She grinned. "We use the neighborhood, just not your house." By the next morning, the plan was forming. We divided the reunion into micro-events scattered across the neighborhood. My aunt's house would host the barbecue. My cousin's place down the street would have the games for the kids. My own garage would serve as the check-in point for guests. Each activity was small enough to fly under the radar of any HOA noise ordinance. But the real stroke of genius came from my neighbor, Carl. "Why don't we rent one of those big party buses?" he suggested. "Keep everyone moving. That way there's no single location for Marjorie to shut down." It was perfect. We spent the week executing the plan in secret. Invitations were sent out in coded language, referring to each stop as part of a scavenger hunt. Food was prepped in multiple kitchens. Games and decorations were stored in garages, ready to appear at the last minute. We even hired a local acoustic band to ride the bus with us, ensuring music would follow wherever we went. On the morning of the reunion, the neighborhood was eerily calm. I half expected Marjorie to be standing in my driveway with a megaphone, ready to block any sign of festivity. Instead, she was nowhere to be seen. At 11 a.m., the first wave of family members arrived at my garage, where I handed them clue cards to the next location. Laughter and chatter began to fill the air. Not loud enough to attract attention, but enough to make my heart swell. The bus pulled up at noon, gleaming under the summer sun, and the real magic began. We rotated from house to house, each stop lasting no more than 30 minutes. Burgers at Aunt Marie's, a water balloon fight at Cousin Dave's, a talent show in Carl's backyard. At every turn, Marjorie's rules were powerless because no single location could be deemed the reunion. The bus driver, clearly enjoying the mischief, even took us for a spin around the block between stops, honking and waving at puzzled neighbors. But around 2 p.m., as we were heading to the next location, the bus slowed. Standing in the middle of the road, clipboard in hand, was Marjorie. She flagged us down, her lips pressed into a thin, angry line. "What is this?" she demanded as I stepped off the bus. I kept my tone polite. "Oh, this? Just a series of small, unrelated gatherings, all within HOA guidelines." Her eyes narrowed. She glanced past me into the bus, where my family waved and grinned like school children caught passing notes. "This is a reunion," she snapped. "I know it." I shrugged. "Prove it." For a tense moment, I thought she might try. She scribbled something on her clipboard, muttering about fines and violations. But the truth was, she had nothing concrete. The HOA's own rules, which she knew better than anyone, didn't cover events that were split across multiple locations, each staying under the noise and occupancy limits. After a long, cold stare, she stepped aside, allowing the bus to roll forward. The rest of the day was pure joy. We danced. We ate. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. Even little Emily got her moment, singing her song from the back of the bus as the sun began to set. When the final stop ended, and the bus dropped everyone back at their cars, I felt a deep, quiet satisfaction. Marjorie had tried to control us, but we'd outsmarted her without breaking a single rule. Later that night, as I sat on my porch watching the crickets flicker in the yard, I saw her walk by, clipboard at her side. For just a second, our eyes met. I expected anger, maybe even another lecture, but instead she gave me the smallest of nods, not approval, but acknowledgement. She knew she'd been beaten, and that more than anything was the perfect ending to a perfect day.